Okay, welcome back again guys, Nori's here, and we gonna start this game.
Where the hell am I?
Gimana kamunya? Where are you, man? A young man, grown aloud, fishing his cell phone out of his pants pocket. The white artificial light was blinding. In the darkness, he tapped impatiently at the map on his phone, but it just continued cycling through circle of dots, refusing to load. He whipped his sweat from his brow, looked round the moonlight, tackled through the treetops, painting a white streak along the forest floor. There was just enough light that Carter could avoid tripping over his own feet. Still, he could not see through the darkness surrounding him. He could not even distinguish the shape of the individual trees. They all just looked like single mass, something smoothing him with their shadows. An economics student at the Tricon University, there was a trek hiker, taking any opportunities to venture into the wilderness as a way to procrastinate on his studies. While he was scrolling during his free hours at the work, he had found a post about a trail that he hadn't yet visited in the mountain. Why not? He thought he had grown tired of his usual trails and it wasn't too far, a 2 to 3 hours drive on the highway. Unfortunately, the traffic on the interstate had been surprisingly crowded for Saturday morning. After making it off the freeway and stopping quickly for a sandwich, it was early afternoon. It had taken him another hour and a half to find the trail just off the side of the road. In a particularly unlonely regional forest, the sign was faded so badly that he could only read half of the letters. Well, at that point he probably should have thrown back, but he proceeded on. He had already invested too many of his precious weekend not to do what he came for. He was already lost before the sun went down. When the light disappeared and he was plunged into inky darkness, he was doomed. You lost your way, man. Carter waved the phone in the air as high as he could reach, praying that he could get at least one bar.
Are you lost?
Okay, that voice. There is someone. A young boy was standing in the shadows of the trees nearby, moonlight illuminating his ink black hair. He wore a white kimono and a pair of wooden guitar.
Oh, yeah. I was on the trail to Cherry Falls, but I must have taken a wrong turn somewhere. By the time I knew it, it was completely dark. Been wandering around trying to find the trail.
Dia gak tahu di mana jalannya.
Do you live around here? Could you point me in the right direction?
Yeah, do you know any direction, boy?
Yeah, I can take you back to the road.
Okay, thank you. Terima kasih.
You sure? Awesome.
Anak kecilnya bisa tolongin kita. Carter hopped over a few protruding trees, rose to the boy's side, and started following him into the forest.
I'm Carter. What's your name?
Raku.
That's a cool name. How old are you?
10.
Then laughs. Itu aku silent. Cause I wasn't sure how to talk to a 10-year-old. His sister was only a few years younger, and most of his cousins were older than him. Carter looked at the kid out of the corner of his eyes. The boy was really pale, his skin shining like ceramic in the moonlight. With his hair and clothes, he reminded Carter of the ghost from one of those Japanese horror films. I know. The dark circle under Rocco eyes gave him a much older air that didn't match his childish face. I think Rocco is tired. Something bad happening to him. Going on. The kid walked slowly, his eye nervously fetching about his surroundings. Fluttering. Carter grew a little uneasy. What if the boy didn't actually know where he was going? Still, the college student followed Rocco immediately. He didn't have any other option. After all, he didn't have any other options.
So, what were you doing out here? Wandering around by yourself?
Ya,
Even if
kenapa
it's
kamu
close to your
sendirian?
house, it's dangerous to be out this late.
Kenapa kamu sendirian di luar? Rocco eye widened and then narrowed.
I was, getting out of the house.
Really?
Getting out of the house? Why?
Kenapa?
I guess I don't like my home very much.
Fighting with your parents?
Kelahi sama orang tua kamu. The college student eyes softened in understanding. He remembered that age all too well. He had fought with his parents often as an adult. Those childish squabbles seemed so small and inconsequential to him now.
What about? Wanna talk about it?
It's hard to explain.
Ngomong aja gak apa-apa. The child fell silent again. Kenapa
How do you feel about your parents? Are they nice?
Orang tua kamu gimana? Baik dia sama kamu?
She gets mad. A lot.
Okay.
Your mom? About what?
Ibunya yang
All sorts of things. My grades, the way I act, and the stuff I wear. Everything. She's never happy, and she's always comparing me to my sister. It feels bad.
That's horrible. I don't even like that feeling. Ibunya yang gak baik sama dianya.
What happened this time?
Rocco averted his gaze and bit his lip. After a moment, he looked up at Carter, hesitant.
It was a big argument this time. My family's not like everyone else's. We have a long history and a lot of traditions.
Okay, you put it in that way.
When children are my age, you have to start doing your family duties. But I really don't want to.
You don't want to, don't do it. Yeah, don't be silent.
Why is that?
It makes me uncomfortable.
Kenapa? Carter sensed that the kid didn't want to go
Well,
into more detail.
even if you're young, I think that you shouldn't be afraid of setting some boundaries. If something makes you uncomfortable, you should say so.
Ya, ngomong aja kalau kamu juga rasa senang.
Family traditions are important, but you are important too. Your parents should listen to what you have to say.
Bujur.
I don't think I can do that.
Ngomong aja baik-baik.
Sure you can. Your parents love you. They should respect your opinions. If you're open and honest with them, then I think that they'll understand.
Kamu yang ngomong baik sama ibunya, nanti ibunya baik sama kamu.
At the very least, it's better than running off. You're going to make them worried sick.
Ya, kalau kau look up, oh god, admiring the moon. Sorry guys, I'm a bit sleepy.
I used to fight with my dad all the time over the silliest stuff. I told myself that when I was old enough, I was gonna leave and never talk to him again. But when I got older, I realized that he was just looking out for me, you know?
Every parent have their own way of taking care.
I don't know your parents, but I'm sure they're looking out for you in their own way.
You have a dad?
Yeah, I love him a lot. It's his birthday at the end of the month, actually. I'm taking him to a basketball game. Already got the tickets and everything. And I got him a gift. A new putter to up his golf game. One of those really fancy ones. Cost me 2 months of my paycheck.
Carter took his phone out to check the time.
Oh,
When the
wait,
screen lights
got some
up.
bars.
Wait.
No, crap, it's happy. Wait, pretend you didn't hear that.
After furiously tapping into his phone, Carter glanced at the boy,
What's
feeling
wrong?
guilty. What was I?
My sister called me like 5 times. Wait a sec, I'm gonna see if I can text her back.
Okay, talk to your sister, man. Ngomong sama adik kamu nya. The pair stopped. However, no matter how much Carter waved his phone in the
I
air,
can't get any bars. I'll have to call her when we get back to the road.
probably. Let's help the boy take you to the road. Otherwise, I have a bad feeling for this. Carter started to walk, but to his surprise, Raku didn't follow. The college student turned around and reached down to hold the boy's hand. Raku's chilly fingers were trembling.
What's wrong? Are you tired?
Yeah.
No, I'm okay.
Saya baik, gak apa-apa. They started walking again, although Raku treasured so slowly that you would have thought that the kid was a malfunctioning robot.
You have a sister?
Yeah, she's 17 now. She wants to go to Tricone University, just like me. She's coming in tomorrow night to see the campus. She was calling to make sure that I brought the conditioner that she likes. Don't ask me why she couldn't just bring some.
If you don't make it back, then what's she going to do? Is she going to be stuck outside?
Carter chuckled.
Don't worry, she's not going to come in until evening. I've got plenty of time to make it back to pick her up at the airport. Ow!
Raku was squeezing his hand now, so tightly that it felt like his fingers were being crushed. The boy turned around and started dragging the college student in the opposite direction.
Where are we?
I made a mistake. This isn't the way to the road. We need...
Raku. Okay. The boy flew slowly turned. Carter turned to look too. A woman was standing behind them, standing in the shadows of the trees. She wore dark blue kimono, her hand folded so neatly in front of her that she looked like a statue. The shadows played over her, painting her in darkness. She had a refined aura with a classic, timeless beauty, a woman better suited to being captured with the ink strokes of a brush pen than with a high definition camera. Carter couldn't quite pinpoint her age, somewhere between 20 and 50. From the way she dressed and acted, she looked like she belonged on the set of a historical Japanese drama, not real life. Itu ibunya.
Is this your mom?
Yeah, they have the same blue eye. Carter whispered to the boy, but Rako ignored
You've
him.
been watching?
Okay. This is bad. The boy's fingers were shaking now, calmly and cold, holding Carter's hand in a firm grip.
Of course. And it's a good thing that I did.
Uh-oh. What do you
I should
think?
have known you'd do something like this. Ruin my efforts after I went through all that trouble to find you a good human for your first time.
Really? Really, man?
I'm not doing anything. I caught him and I was taking him back, just like I promised.
Stop lying. You're always lying. I saw you. You're trying to take him to the road.
Yeah, he's trying to save him. What's wrong with that? Carter's skin felt icy. There was something wrong about this situation. He tried to warm his hand out of Aku's grasp, but the boy
Stay
held
behind
on.
me.
Stay
I
behind.
caught him. That's enough, isn't it?
Okay, there is something.
The consumption is just as important as the hunt, if not more so. You know that.
Okay.
He's a good person. A really good person. He's kind, and he cares about his father.
Yeah. Kenapa kamu begitu
He
sama
has
dia?
a little sister, too. He's meeting her tomorrow. If he's not there, then she'll be left out in the cold with no place to go.
Ya, dianya ada juga. Adik,
I'm disappointed. I thought that I taught you better. Yet here you are, so easily swayed by a human's guile.
it's you, woman.
You just haven't seen the world yet. You don't understand. This man is wicked, like so many other humans.
Really? I think
You found him in these woods, didn't you? Right here, trespassing on our land. Acting like the entire earth is his property. Such egotism deserves to be punished, doesn't it?
Okay, you are wrong. Your whole idea is wrong, woman.
Still, I don't think that he should die. Just for that.
Hah? Dianya mati. Carter gasped, the hair on the back of his neck standing on end. He stared wide-eyed at the boy, with Raku being serious.
Can't he say that he's sorry?
How childish. Stop disobeying me, Raku. Why are you always like this? Always so impertinent and obstinate. You never listen to me.
Because he's doing this good thing. What are you trying to write? An evil? The boy sat on his ground, his voice saying it with a cell-hold hand.
I don't want to. You should respect what I have to say.
You should respect what he is saying. Ibunya kebaik sama dianya, dia mau. The woman trembled, her eyes glazing over. Okay. Carter stood in shock, watching 4 twisted black limbs sprout from her back. Wow, okay, she's turning into a monster. She wasn't human. If anything, she looked like a spider. Is that a black widow? Don't tell me she's a black widow. When the woman lunged toward the pair, Carter screamed, jerking his hand out of Raku. However, he didn't make it far. He trembled, agony shooting through his leg like a bullet. Okay, the mother is lying on the ground. Carter wheezed. The pain that seared through his calf was quickly replaced by cold numbness. Although he tried to stand up, his leg wouldn't listen to him. They bulged from his torso like tubes of jelly. He scrabbled at the nearby tree root, trying to use them to drag himself along the ground. Okay, this woman is crazy. The woman writhed an eyebrow before spearing the hopeless college student in the middle of his back. with one of her spider legs. He collapsed completely, paralyzed, unable to do anything except
And
blink.
as for you,
Oke. Ibunya jadi spider. Apa bahasa Indonya? Bahasa Indo saya agak kuat. Basically, the mother is a black widow spider who kill their husbands. But seems in this scenario, they kill each human, I guess, men specifically. Whoever step on their land, they will kill them. As Raku's vision went black, the only thing that he could hear was the disappointment in his mother's voice.
we're going home.
When Raku awoke, his head chopped through the side of his head was dumb. His mouth was swimming in the taste of metal. He coughed, blood spurting. He struggled to get his elbow off the cold stone floor. He was sitting in a familiar room, lit by a couple of kimono lanterns. The flame inside filled the space with a dim orange. This was the basement underneath the Komodo state. It was a room with no name, no official purpose. The dog and where the family hid all the things that they didn't want. It was the room where they kept disobedient children. Raku had been locked in here on countless occasions, suffocated by the cold darkness until he repented for his wrongdoing. It was also the room where commoders kept their prey captive until they grew hungry. And it was the room where they fed. The flames from the lanterns flickered once more, shadow dancing along the walls. Okay. His mother's dangerous woman. The commode, mad fish, sat at the other end of the room on the steps leading out of the basement. Her posture was impeccable, back straight, knees bent at the right angle, like post, doll, blah blah blah. You guys can pose it. Blood dribbled out of her mouth, down her neck. The underneath that she wore under her dark blue kimono, flecked with crimson and stains blood like small red flowers. Carter was lying on the bottom of the stairs. His torso had been slashed down the middle, from his throat to his pelvis. Had been cracked open, splayed out like a pair of blood-stained wings on the other side of his chest cavity inside the student organ glanced dark pink in the dim firelight, ripe for consumption. Ew! She ripped out. Ew, brother, ew! Oh my god, it smelled
Look,
delicious.
I got everything ready for you. Now you just need to eat.
Crawling woman. Raku shook his head, unable to tear his eyes from Carter. Contrite.
I'm not hungry.
This is your duty. You'll eat whether you're hungry or not.
I don't want to eat. I'm not going to eat.
Do you want to humiliate me? What will everyone think, knowing that the Komodo heir is too scared and soft to do his duties? That I raised a son like that?
She dug her fingers into Carter's abdominal cavity, extracting a plump dark red organ. She held it out toward Raku. Okay, this woman is dangerous, and they eat humans.
Come. Here. This is the liver. Truly a delicacy. You like it?
I don't think I'll like it. Dia gak mau. The boy didn't move, he just stared at the corpse's face, caught an expression of anguish already suffocating. Raku thought about the college student comforting smile area that evening, and the gentle way that Carter had held his hand. He shuddered, cold stabbing in his heart. Okay. His mother said,
When you were born, I should have killed you. There's no room for males in our family, as you know.
Raku pursed his lips. He had heard this story from his mother countless times. Endless reminders of how he should be grateful. The Commodore family was made almost entirely of women. When the spider demons needed to procreate, they would seduce some men off the side of the road and cut them after the deed was done. Where? Really? If the baby was a daughter, they would treasure her, the precious continuation of the family bloodline. But what if it's a boy? And if the baby was a son, they would eat him.
But
What?
I couldn't kill you. I loved you too much. And because I loved you, I went against everyone to keep you alive.
Seriously, woman, you are
You
crazy.
love me, don't you, Raku? If you love me, then you'll eat.
But Raku didn't agree. He didn't move to
No.
accept his mother. The woman lunged forward, seizing Raku's chin, and forcefully opening his mouth, she pressed the organ against his lip, its blood dropping onto his face and clothes. That's how racist this family is, just letting
No!
daughter alive
No,
and
no, no, no!
the son dead. The boy screamed, cried, wrestled, scratching, but anything that he could do to escape her gasp. His spider legs protruded from his back and clawed at his mother, raising her clothes, drawing fine lines of red along her skin. The woman seized his collar and threw him to the floor, crashing the leather in her vest and tossing it at him too.
Fine. If you want to act like an adult, then I'll treat you like one. Maybe then you'll learn.
His mother is a strict one. Raku tried to crawl away. His stomach thumped against the cold basement floor. He screamed when the woman spread him through the tie, blinding him in place. Okay. She struck one of the limbs protruding from his back. Red finger went along the smooth back, solid. Okay, what's she gonna do with his spider leg? She grabbed one and pulled. Then Raku's mother ripped the leg off him one by one. What the frick? Okay, that's crazy. One. She pressed her kitchen onto the smooth of Raku's back as she pulled, crashing the air. Every time she took off a leg, she ate it as she tore through the sickening crunches. Okay, 3. She only halted when he stopped struggling. He lay on the floor, splayed out like specimen, almost completely motionless. His one remaining spider leg convulsed, the remaining of pain shooting through his nerve ending. The woman licked her lip before returning to the stair. When she opened the door, she turned around.
I'm doing all of this because I love you. I love you and I want the best for you. If you want to live, then you'll eat.
The door closed, and the boy rose from his stupor. He was weak, blood gushed from the stump on his back, taking down his skin and staining the white. Okay, he knew what the mother had to do. Spider demons like him could recover from crippling injuries like this, but only if they ate, and only if they ate something big, something like a deer or a cow or a human. In the basement there was only one thing. Raka tried to look at Chattercap's, but he couldn't. Instead, he shifted his gaze to the lever that his mother had dropped on the ground. It shone dark crimson, limp light glass flashing off the surface. I guess you have to eat, man. Yeah, you have to eat. Otherwise, what can you do? He reached down and picked it up. It was soft and wet, with the lingering warmth from his mother. He raised it to his mouth. He held his breath, and he bit it down. Kamu senang? Senang rasanya? Ew, kalau saya gak senang. It tastes delicious. It was the most delicious thing that Raku had eaten in his entire life. The organ melted in his mouth like a fine rubber stick, the tender sweetness spilling over his tongue. He wanted more. He wanted to lick every morsel of the meat of the floor. He wanted to bore his face into the human's chest cavity and devour him until there was nothing left. He approached the corpse, reaching for the succulent meat along the rib. When he saw Carter's face, his twisted, agony-filled expression, and the boy remembered how happily the college student had spoken of his father and sister. Raku vomited a liquid mixture of acid, aside, and straight up lava spat onto the ground. The boy giggled, continuing to run after his stomach. He is feeling guilty. Ya, gak bisa, kamu gak senang makan daging manusia. He crawled to the opposite side of the room, as far away from the corpse as he could. He crawled up against the wall. Okay, he's feeling guilty. And how long he gonna stay in the basement? Berapa hari kamu nanti diam di basementnya? In the darkness of the basement, the boy made a wish. It was quite pointless wish. He had no fairy godmother that would hear him, no magical guardian that would grant him his plea. That wish, like so many before, would go unanswered. No one was coming to save him. A pair of small, powerful feet sprinted along the tatami. They made small tapping sounds like they made contact with the floor, like droplets of water falling into a pond. Kai knew that she wasn't supposed to run in the house, but the resident of the Komodo household rarely admonished the precious youngest child after being watered with nothing but effusive praise for her 6 years of existence. The girl. Anyway, it was an emergency, a stupid emergency mission. Raku had been locked in the basement for 2 days when Caillou asked Mother why. Mother said that it was because Raku wasn't eating. They would let him out once he ate something. This confused the girl. Her brother liked to eat. He did eat all the time: rice, meat, fish, vegetable, noodles. He wasn't picky. He ate everything without complaining. Yeah, normal thing, not human. Caillou said that they should make Raku his favorite oyakudon. Maybe then he would eat. Yeah, he liked oyakudon. You guys should make oyakudon for him. But mother shook her head and pat Caillou's hair. She said that Caillou wasn't a good child. He wasn't like Caillou, who ate whatever she was told. He needed to learn a lesson. Caillou pouted, but she didn't protest. Mother was right. Why was Caillou being so bad? He wasn't bad. It was his mother. Still, she worked for her big brother. The basement was dark and damp, and it smelled horrible. He was probably crying down there. She knew that he cried something when he was alone and thought that no one was watching. So she was going on a secret mission to save him, just this once. It is super important mission, girl. You have to save him. The little girl ran into her room and made a beeline for the basket lying in the corner. It was filled to the brim with dolls and other stuffed toys, neatly arranged like a boutique. She rummaged through the basket, taking the dolls out and throwing them to the floor. There wasn't many places to hide things in her room. Mother could easily find anything that was stored in the normal places. The drawer, the closet, the futon. Raku had helped Caillou find this hiding place, a secret just for her. The bottom of the basket was lined with a nice blanket decorated with a small pink flower. The girl pulled that out too. Her treasure lay beneath the blanket. What do you have there? Caillou rarely ate sweets. She was only allowed to eat desserts on special occasions, like a birthday and New Year. Even then, she usually ate homemade mochi, jelly, or red bean soup. Mother always said that human desserts were filled with poisons. Okay. Still, the little girl's mouth watered whenever they went to the grocery store, and she saw the candies line up next to the checkout in glossy plastic wrap, like places of treasure, encased in glossy. Okay. Last month, Raku had ushered her into his room, holding a finger to his lips. He took out his backpack and showed her what was inside. When she saw those sparkling pieces of candy, her eyes lightened up. They shimmered as bright as lantern against the dark framing of her bangs. Raku explained that he had gotten them at school as part of Halloween event. Caillou had never had chocolate before. She severed every bite, nibbling in an attempt to make the candy last as long as possible. When he saw that, Raku laughed and gave her all 5 bars. Since then, Caillou had treasured the candy, only sneaking it out every once in a while to take a small bite. It was undeniably precious. When she took it out of the basket, she swallowed, unsure whether she was ready to give it up. No. She was even. If the candy was her treasure, her brother was more important. Okay, good thing the girl didn't treat her brother as bad as the mother. Raku wasn't eating beef because of the food, Good, but he would eat this candy, then mother would let him out. Caillou gathered the remaining bars in her arm. She ran through the hallway, carefully, to tiptoe around the doorway. It took her a few minutes to arrive at the basement, which was almost on the other side of the house. She looked down at the stairs a little scared. She didn't like going down there. She had never been there. You guys can pause the video if you want to read it. She swallowed and crept. And she clenched the candy bars in her arms so tightly that they started to melt, rubbing creamy brown stains on her skin. Caillou let out a sigh of relief when she reached the bottom. She licked chocolate off her hands. Okay, the heavy wooden double doors toward the little girl. The light from the hallway cast a dull shine in the dark red paint. The handles were locked together with a heavy metal chain, as thick as Caillou forearm. She jumped up and grabbed the chain, jiggling it, but it was no good. It was locked securely. She grabbed one of the handles and pulled, putting all her strength. Slowly the door dragged along the ground. The chain prevented it from moving very far, but she was able to get an inch-wide gap between the doors. The room beyond the gap was pitch black like a paper dozed. Caillou called out in the dark. There was no response. Her arms were starting to hurt from holding the door open. Still, she held fast.
Raku! Raku, it's me!
Finally, she heard movement from the inside room. However, the sound was a little strange. She didn't hear footsteps. Instead, she heard scraping, as if someone was dragging something along the ground. Something hit the door, and suddenly it was much less heavy. Even when Caillou let go of the door handle, it stayed in place. She tried to peek through the gap. The angle made it difficult to see, but she could vaguely make out her brother, Selhout, as he leaned against the door.
Hey, Caillou.
His voice was hoarse and thin.
Mother said that you can't come out because you're not eating. Why not?
Wow,
Not hungry.
that is the reason.
You should just eat. It's bad not to do what Mother says.
You don't know what the story is. Kamu gak tahu apa masalahnya.
Anyway, I brought you a present.
Okay, good sister. She flew with the candy bar through the gap. Her fingers grazed Raku's palm as she accepted.
You still had these. Did you not like them?
I did like them. I liked them a lot. But you're hungry, right? So I'm giving them to you.
Why did you nibble on all of them? Gross.
The girl's face flushed pink.
If you don't want them, give them back.
No, I want them.
Caillou waited with bad breath as her brother ate.
That was
the
good.
candy.
Thanks.
I'll go tell Mother that you ate.
However, before the girl could run off,
Wait,
Raku.
don't get her yet. I'll, tell her myself when she comes down.
Okay. Don't stay down here too long. I'll ask them to make your favorites for dinner tomorrow.
The girl disappeared up the stair, her bare feet tapping against the hardwood. Okay. When Raku couldn't hear his sister anymore, he crawled onto his hands and knees. He reached behind to touch the bloody stump on his back. The candy gave him a modicum of energy, enough to seal his wounds. When he was no longer bleeding, not onto the floor, he examined the doors. There was still a gap between them. Moments later, a small spider slipped through the gap. It crawled up the walls, down to the hallways, and out of the gate, disappearing into the shadow forest surrounding the estates. When the Commodore Matrix returned to check on the basement later that evening, her son was nowhere to be seen. It's your guilt, Mother. You did that to your son. That's why he is running away now. Gimana kayaknya? For days Rako ran. He didn't know where he was going or where he wanted to go. He just knew that he wanted to get away, to flee as far from that ace full of venom as he could, to a place where none of the Komodo could ever find him. The boy had a few different forms that he could transform into. He could of course resemble an ordinary human boy. He could also morph into a monstrous human-sized spider capable of biting a person's head in two. For a while, he transformed into his gigantic spider self, skirting between the tree lobes with ease. However, he could not keep up that form for long. After that, he turned into his human form. Some passerby looked with concern at the boy who was walking alone in the highway. His tattered while kimono was drenched with crimson, as if he had been doused in red paint. His feet were bleeding from walking bar along the asphalt. However, by the time the police were called, the boy had disappeared. The police couldn't find him. After 4 days passed, Raku could no longer maintain his human form. Either weakened from his injuries and the bloodloss, he transformed into his last form, his final resort, a small ordinary spider. He could not run very far like this, so he found some shelter. He stumbled onto a nearby neighborhood and huddled in the shadow of a garbage bin, weaving himself a small web to set on. The boy wasn't very skilled at catching prey. He only managed to hunt a single fly in 3 days. However, it was enough to keep himself alive. Yeah, I gotta do what you have to do. This wasn't bad accident. Raku thought he could just sit here peacefully as an ordinary spider and catch insects every once in a while. He never had to return to the house of that basement or that life. However, his hopes were short-lived. Life on the outside came with its own harsh realities. You're gonna face how real life now. One evening, Raku awoke with a start. A pair of large hazel eyes stared down at him. It's a cat. The next moment, a paw crashed down on his web like a tidal wave, ripping his mole asunder. Raku screamed to get away, but he stumbled. He was still missing the 3 legs that his mother had ripped off his back, making it difficult to keep his balance. He collapsed on the ground, an easy target to his hungry hunter. The cat smashed its paw on one of Raku's remaining legs, pinning him in place. For a few minutes, the cat played with his prey. He would let Raku go, and before the spider could scramble away, he would crush Raku's abdomen beneath his paw again. When the flying tide tired of this game, he started to swing at Raku, batting the spider around like a hail. You better run, Raku. Raku took the opportunity to flee, dodging into the grass. He ran faster than he had he ever run in his entire life. Cat hot breathed on his heels. He jumped onto the wall of a nearby house, scaling it as he dodged the cat's enthusiastic sweeps. The window was cracked, sealed with a mess of duct tape. Raku slipped onto the cap of the gate. The cat hissed, pawing at the glass before returning. He was in what looked to be child's room, though it was somewhat bare. Some mattress covered in a pink bedspread sat in the corner. A couple of animal plushies. A small desk raised in the opposite corner. The school handouts were neatly arranged onto the file organized. The array of markers, pens, and pencils were all placed onto the homemade ceramic mug decorated with a panda. The book in the bookshelf were miraculously lined up, organized by stories. The room was empty. Raku crawled up the wall, tumbling, hoping to find some quiet. He was feeling so faint. God, I just hope he went to a safe place. Raku jolted awake when the ground underneath him moved. He was starting into a pair of massive brown eyes. He jumped, he scattered around, finding himself on human hand. The girl was squeaked, dropping Raku on the bed. He tried to scurry away, but he was too tired. He held on a pulping head speed. Okay.
So you are still alive?
You're still alive.
I didn't mean to scare you. I'm sorry.
She's a good girl. She covered her hands underneath Caillou, scooping him into her palms. She disposed him.
The window's broken, so I can't open it. But there's a crack there. You should be able to get out.
Okay, however, Raku didn't move. He looked outside. He could see the cat rolling around, scratching his cow. When the spider didn't leave, the girl leaned forward and examined
Is it
Raku.
because you're hurt? You don't have all your legs. You're missing... Gosh, you lost 3 of them. Did you come in here because you were hurt and scared?
The girl bit her lips in thought before turning to leave the room. Look for you. Boy, you found
Wait here.
nice girl. Raku lingered on the windowsill, not quite sure what to do. Should he try to run into some deserted corner of the girl rooms? Should he test his luck against the cat again? His thoughts were foggy. His body felt weak, too dehydrated to move properly. Before he could decide, she was holding a knife. Okay, the girl returned. Raku shrunk back toward the wall, looking around for some way to escape. Okay, he's trying to escape, but she didn't try to stab him. Instead, she took out an empty glass jar and plastic lid. She took the knife and poked several holes into the lid before putting it on the jar, testing the fit. When the girl scooped her hands under Raku, he didn't resist. He was too weak to escape in a way. She gently dropped him in the jar. Don't worry, Raku, you're in good hands. The sour scent of pickle hanging on the inside of the glass, but otherwise it was clean and well arranged. Soft soil layered the bottom with an array of twigs and decayed leaves over the top. The orange bottle cap sat on the corner, filled with the clean water. Raku crawled around, poking the stick and the leaves. He dipped his tongues into the water. The liquid was cool and refreshing. The girl dropped the corpse of a small moose next to Raku.
I think that spiders eat insects. This is all I could find for now, but I'll get you some more later.
Okay, she's taking care of him. She brushed the fragment of plastic from the lid before screwing it over the top of the jar. Raku looked up with a little pencil on his escape. Root disappeared.
I read that spiders can regrow their legs when they molt. I won't keep you in there forever. You can just stay a little while. Until your legs grow back. Okay?
The girl tapped the glass a couple of times.
Don't worry. You're safe here. I won't let anyone hurt you.
Raku's chest felt strange. No one had ever told him that before, that he was safe. He had never felt safe, not at home, not in his mother's arm, not in his own bed. Even when things were okay, he knew that the calm was temporary. If he did anything wrong, no matter how small, that peace would be ripped away in an instant. Raku relaxed. The small jar was somehow comforting. It wasn't so bad being in this girl cage. It was better than his cage back home, at least. You're in good hands, Raku. And so Raku's life at the girl bed began. She took a good care of him. When she was at school, she kept him hiding next to the bed, but when she returned, she put him on the windowsill to get some sun. She changed his water twice a day. Every day she scratched for dead insects, making sure that he had a steady happy. Okay. She even kept a notebook where she made notes about his condition, his energy level, his appetite, the current state of his legs. Slowly Raku recovered. He wasn't overly enthusiastic with the meals, but they gave him much needed energy. He couldn't regrow his missing legs. He would need to eat a much larger meal for that. But after a few days, he had blah 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 blah. Still, he stayed in the girl jar. He didn't have a reason to leave. In fact, he rather liked it there. No, okay. There were 3 members of the girl household. The woman always left first. Okay, that's her mother. After waking up, she would sluggishly plaster some makeup on before microwaving last night's dinner. Before leaving, she checked that she had enough cash on her wallet for lunch and groceries. She wasn't allowed to have a credit card. Okay. Lastly, she would rush out of the house before the break of dawn. The girl left second. Okay. Her mornings were orderly. She woke up, brushed her teeth, got dressed neatly, arranged her cereal and milk on the table before eating, made sure that the dishes were clean and her backpack was zipped tight before walking out just in time to make the bus. Okay, the man. He never woke up at the same time. Sometimes he would rise an hour after the girl left, and sometimes he would still be in bed. As soon as the man arose, he meandered to the kitchen where he cracked open a cold beer. He opened the fridge cask and then ordered a takeout. After that, he sat on the couch for another productive day of alcohol-muddled television as he waited for his wife to return home to cook dinner. What a lazy bastard. Okay, what else? The girl life was quiet. She went to school, came home, fed Raku. If she had some free time, she would read through books that she had checked out from the library, including a few about spider biology. She also kept a couple of containers filled with soil on the windowsill. She carefully watered those containers. Sometimes she would take out her video games console, a small yellow-handed Apple play. She lay on her bed, losing herself in the virtual world until the girl talked to Rako often. She wasn't expecting a response, of course, but she just liked having someone to talk to, someone who would listen. They were normal little conversations. Sometimes she told him about her day at school, or about her favorite book, or about a video game that she wished that she could buy. Sometimes she chattered about random animal fact that she had memorized something. Sometimes she rambled about her blah blah blah. Raku listened. He liked hearing her talk about all these little things. They were different and new. He had spent almost his entire life at the Komodo state. He never watched TV or played games. He was always told not to talk too much to the other kids at school. He had never thought about the future. The boy treasured those chats. It was as if the girl's life was flower fields, and she was showing him those flowers one at a time. Okay. You guys are becoming good friends. Dianya jadi bertemanan. Jadi temennya tiap hari-hari. On one chilly afternoon, the girl burst into the room. She grabbed Raku, brandishing her backpack eagerly.
I went to the pet store today, and they gave me a couple of crickets for free.
Two small cricket around bundles sound around the bottom. She dumped the prey into the jar. She took a big plastic bag. Blah blah blah. Okay, she leaned her chin on her elbow, watching him with anticipation. Raku looked at the two nervous critters with distaste. He would have far preferred the meat or something else, but he couldn't complain. The girl was trying her best. She had no way of knowing that he's different spider. It wasn't difficult to catch the two crickets at the small container. Raku sunk his jaw onto both of them, suffocating out their life with the venom. He set one side before beginning to make a meal of the other one. The girl smiled and took the notebook out of her file organizer. She carefully selected a black, orange, and pink pens before she began making her notes about Raku's condition for the day. She also made notes about the plants on her windowsill, beaming when she saw that they had sprouted. Okay, her plants sprouted also.
You aren't my first pet. I used to have a cat, a really cute tabby. I named him Summer. He liked to sleep in my bed, and he always purred when I scratched him behind the ears. But whenever Dad got mad at me, he would hurt Summer. And he would tell me that it was my fault. I was afraid that Summer would. That my dad would.
Okay.
So I gave Summer away to my friend.
The girl smiled.
It's nice that you're so small. Easy to hide. When I grow up, I'll be a vet. Then I can have as many pets as I want. And I can take care of them too.
A bang resounded from the kitchen, followed by several curses. The girl perked up. She opened her door a crack, listening intensely. Okay, she returned to her desk and grabbed her headphone and her power play. She headed to the door, however, after a moment of hesitation, she turned around. The girl picked up Raku's jar and held it to her chest. She opened the door to her room. The coughing was louder now. The slurred in blah 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 was echoed through the house like the growl of a beast. The girl could hear her mother's voice too, softer. Her words of anger slipped in hesitation and fear. Her parents are arguing. The girl tiptoed down to the hallway, I guess, or bathroom. She entered the bathroom, locking the door behind her, and she didn't turn on the light. Instead, she placed Raku's jar on the side of the tube before sitting on the tube mat next to him. The headphones snapped over her ears, the paper illuminating, filling the darkness room with a cold white light in as the logo danced. Raku chewed on the half-digested remaining of his kraken. Watching the girl play, she had a few deficient games. A monster collecting RPG where you caught different to do battles, an action adventure where you had to rescue the prince from a castle and defeat the big boss. But her favorite was a much simpler game, Space Blaster. In it, you took control of the spaceship, shouting down a series of enemy ships and aliens invaders. The game was endless. A very few seconds, a new ship would appear on the other side of the screen. The round only ended when you lost. The girl liked this game. When she played it, she didn't need to worry about the moments when she beat the final boss, the moment when she would inevitably be jolted out of that peaceful virtual world. She could just play forever and ever, even when her fingers started cramping and her eyes began to strain. Okay, you like playing that game. Her motion was efficient and precisely timed, almost mechanical, the result of years of diligent practice. As soon as one row of enemy ships disappeared, the girl continued to the next, small weight bullets mercilessly mowing down her opposition. As soon as the girl lost and the round ended, she would restart. The curses and the shouting continued, but inside the bathroom they were distant. Here the girl was safe, protected by the lock on the door and the headphones over her ears and the comforting distance. Here the girl could pretend that she was somewhere else, out of this house. Kyle stared. Rock stared at the paper, mesmerized by the flashing light.
That looks fun.
That looks fun. Well, Kyle didn't play a game. The girl stayed in the bathroom long after the show's chaos. She only came out when the adults went to sleep. Okay. Raku started noticing strange things about the girl after that. He noted when her hair and clothes were nude, as they were typically neat and orderly. He noticed that the bruises that blossomed on her skin, the dark marks on her arms and wrists, He noticed when she seemed withered and quieter than usual, while the mom got beaten up by the dad. He could hear argument echoing from downstairs. Often the screams and the swearing rang through the house. The only quiet place was the girl room. Even amongst the din, the girl would sit noiselessly, trying her best not to attract any attention. A stone in a storm, a gazelle playing decade in a den. The girls' sprout grew for a short time, but it wasn't long before they became long and spindly. Soon they went away. There weren't enough light to replace the plans remained in him of the girl. Raku thought a small life struggling to grow in a place that the sun didn't reach. It's kinda like that. Let's read more. One afternoon, Raku waited patiently for the girl. He started counting the minutes until her returns. He was familiar with that time. In the distance, he could hear the door open. However, the girl didn't hurry to her room as she usually did. Murmurs emanated from the living room, then they escalated into shouts. There was a cry of pain, more yelling. Not even the closed door could muffle it. They started to argue, if you could call it that. The girl's voice was so quiet that it was barely audible, while the man sounded like a thunderstorm. Her dad has anger issue, and alcohol issue also. Eventually the girl returned. When she picked him up, he could see the splotches on her left cheek, a lady reddened. Her hair was in disarray too, as if it had been severely pulled. She didn't try to talk to him. She didn't take her usual notes either. She just refilled his water and put him to the windowsill. Then she didn't move for a long time when the sun started to set, and proceed with her routine like a robot, showering, doing homework, eating dinner. She only remembered Raku on the windowsill. As she was about to go to sleep, she was about to put him on the floor. She nestled the jar against her pillow and lied down next to it. Oh, she's crying.
There were parent-teacher conferences at school today. There were so many cool parents there. There was a doctor, and a lawyer, and a scientist. One kid's mom even brought in homemade cupcakes. My mom couldn't come. My dad didn't come either. My friend Emma hasn't been doing that well in school lately. And when her dad came and found out, he was surprised. He started telling her off right in the middle of the courtyard. Then Emma burst into tears. She couldn't stop crying. Do you know what her dad did?
Raku didn't know, but he thought about it. He could already hear the screams, the insult, the doing great remarks. He already knew that she would throw him in the basement and cage him at his desk. She would monitor him as he studied until it was certain that he would never make same mistakes. His mom was a strict
He hugged
woman.
her, and he said that he was sorry. He said that he was wrong for scolding her in front of everyone, and he told her that he'd make it up to her. He said that it was okay that her grades weren't perfect, and that they could work on it together. I thought that was so nice. She had such a nice dad.
She buried her face into her stuffed. Raku had twisted for the girl. He remembered how cheerful she had smiled at him when they first met. He didn't realize how rare those smiles were. bad day for the girl. The man downstairs was a demon wearing a human body skin, just like Raku. A demon that devoured the smiles of the people that he should have loved. The world couldn't mourn a demon. When the woman woke up, she carefully applied a thick layer of foundation over her dark bruises covering her face. She didn't have time to eat breakfast, so she just grabbed the tap water from the fridge she would have to eat later. Then the girl woke up. She went about her morning as usual. She filled the spider water and set him carefully next to the wall by the bed before walking. Then the man woke up and he was groggy, his head spinning from his hangover. That bitch had put him in particularly fuel mood yesterday. How could she even think about going on a long, expensive trip to visit her sister? Oh, they couldn't afford that. Well, man, you should do your work if you wanna afford it. Sometimes it felt like he was the only one thinking about the family, the only one with one really reasonable mind. He behaved himself off the couch and went to the fridge, cracking open a cold beer. He peered inside, searching for food. Because the tap water was gone, the woman had probably catch all the food from last night before she left to work. She is the one who is thinking about family. Selfish. He had told her over and over to leave food for him, but she never listened. His eyes wandered around the empty house. The man's anger was bubbling now, but there were no targets on which he could offload his frustration. The girl was still in school, and the woman wouldn't be back until the evening. He scolded and stalked upstairs. He opened the gate room. Man, you are trying to find a reason, man. The girl usually avoided provoking his fire. She had learned to be meek and unassuming, staying out of her father's sight. So when the man wanted a reason to be angry at his torture, he had to go looking for it. He refilled through her books and desk and closet, looking for anything that the girl might be hiding. Really, man, you gonna do all that shit just for your anger?
What the hell is this?
Oh, he found you. He picked up the jar, dangling in front of his face. His pupils contracted when he saw the large black spider inside. Raku froze when he saw the man too. He had never seen the man before, but he knew this was the monster that lived downstairs. The man pressed his face against the glass, his breeze fogging the surface. Okay. Then he put the jar back under the bed. Raku hadn't expected that. He had expected the man to immediately take him and toss him outside or in the toilet. Yet the man just went to the door, shutting it. A few moments after the man left, the realization sank into Raku like a dagger.
No.
Yeah, you're gonna be mad on the girl. Ah, damn it. When the girl opened the door, she didn't say anything. No, I'm back. No, I am hungry. Is there anything to eat? No. Rumbling about her friends or her day at school, she knew that her mother wouldn't be home at this hour. So when she entered the living room, she was surprised to see the man on the couch, looking up on her. He never did that. He was always tone aggressive on his TV, engrossed in his TV or his booze. At the girl crept through the room to the stair. The man's eyes followed her. His gaze blew into her back like nails. She felt uneasy. She walked faster, eager to return to her room. Okay, that dude, crazy maniac. As soon as she entered, she dropped her backpack on the ground and went to her bed. She reached down and picked up. He was a little weird today. He kept scraping at the glass with his front leg. Okay, the door opened with a bang. The girl jumped, nearly dropped the jar. She frustrated herself against the wall as her father stalked toward her. He
What
gestured
the fuck
oddly.
is this thing, Nelly?
The girl couldn't speak. Her terror had its hands around her throat, choking every word out of her. She could only wait, trembling, wondering what her father would do next.
Why are you bringing this shit into my house? My fucking house!
Your house,
I got enough on my plate without you making a mess of everything, bringing disgusting insects in here!
and what do you do? He slapped the girl upside the head. She tumbled to the door, head spinning, but she kept a firm hold of the jar. She didn't let it fall. The man reached down and tried to grab the container from the girl, but she wrapped herself around it. She huddled on the ground, protecting Raku with all of the strength in her small frame. She was going to keep the spider safe. But little girls are no match for adult men. The man flipped the girl over, shaking her like a rag doll. He took her finger and them off, bending them until it felt like they were going to break. Your dad is a crazy man. When the girl's father had snatched the jar from her grasp, he had it above his head like a trophy. Bapaknya gak baik lalu. Raku was floating in the air. Clumps of dirt and twigs danced around him. I can imagine how he flew. And in the next moment, no, he was plummeting. Crack. Raku smashed into a cold floorboard in a storm of glass shot. He skipped across the floor like skipping stone. Limbs behind. He finally came to stop under the chest of drawer, landing on a particularly large dust. And before he could get on his feet, Raku jumped, almost ran through the ground like an earthquake. As the man stomped around the floor, kicking the glass and dirt everywhere, the girl shrunk against the wall.
Where'd it go? Fuck!
Oh, okay. He slammed his hand against the wall.
Clean this shit up! And when you find that thing, kill it. Understand?
The girl was silent. The man spoke again, his voice moving through his
Did
forehead.
you hear me, Nelly?
Yeah?
Fucking hell, stupid ass kid. You and that bitch are always making my life hell.
He gave the remnants of the homemade meal one last kick before leaving the room, slamming the door behind him. That guy. He should be killed. The girl clung to the wall for several more minutes, too shocked to respond. When she could move her trembling legs, she started to sweep up the cell in her hands, seeing way as the smaller glass shards sank into her skin, stinging her palms. Fat tears rolled down the girl's cheeks. She tried to brush them away, but they continued to gush out the salty water. With the streak of blood on her fingers, she opened her mouth and she made a wish. It was a quiet wish, barely audible in the room, stifling silence, a pointless wish. After all, there was no one around to hear it, but the girl just couldn't keep her feeling inside any longer. Her fear, her resentment, her fury, her betrayal, it all bubbled inside her. Emotion boiling over into a couple of sins, brimming with all the hatred.
I wish he'd die. I wish he'd just disappear and die.
When she heard those words, the girl felt a sting of guilt. She didn't want to feel that way about her own father, but at the same time, it was a real life she had wanted to say those words out loud for so long, to give a voice, regardless that fragile wish didn't mean anything. It would disappear, swallowed by the room silence. Those words would wither away like everything else in this house. But you got the spider. She looked down. The spider had left its hiding spot under the bed and was looking up at her expectantly. She scrubbed away her teeth. She picked up the spider and deposited him on the windowsill. He turned his head as if giving her one last look forward before disappearing through the cracked glass. Well, you have your guy. He's gonna kill the father for you, I think. The man plunged the cigarette between his teeth, struggling to ignite the lighter. When it finally lit, he took a deep inhale, savoring the sweet, toxic decadence of tobacco. When the man left the cigarette to his lips for the second time, he squinted. There was a dark blob sitting on top of the garbage bin. It was too large to be a cat. A dark blob? He took a step forward. It was a boy. A scrawny, youngish-looking boy, wearing some weird tattooed costume, like a hospital gown, Nellie's age. The boy perched on the bin, arms warped tight around his calves. He rested his chin on his knees, uprising the man with a pair of icy eyes, partly masked by the dark bands. You're gonna kill him, man. He has a mission to do. Because you hurt his girl.
What are you doing, kid?
Ay. Kamu yang mati. The man said he took a third draft, making sure to blow the smoke in the boy direction. Rupanya gak baik. Udah, matiin aja dianya. Let me save, guys. I'm gonna save. The man said he took a third draft, making sure the blows all.
This is my house. That's my bin. Get out.
The boy didn't respond. Instead, he released his arms and let his legs down, dangling them over the edge of the garbage bin. However, he made no movement to jump down. He has a plan for you, man, which is killing you. He's gonna murder you. The man scolded. He was feeling irritated now. He had had enough of his naughty little brats today. He tolerated the cheapness his genius from Nellie. Because she was his daughter, he wasn't obligated to play along with some stranger. The man threw the burning cigarette butt down, not even bothering to stomp it out. He stepped toward the boy, seizing the child by the collar and lifting him up the bin. The boy didn't panic or fell. He hung there lifeless and limp as a rag doll.
Get off my property, brat!
Really, man. The boy's sort of like eye widened and blinked once as the man, spitting sprayed all over his face, dosing him in the order of alcohol and tobacco. In the odor of alcohol and tobacco. Really, he is full of alcohol. Let me say, oh, this dude is a maniac, like cannot do anything. Bapak temannya gak baik, dia minum alkohol dan rokok. In the next moment, the charred arms snagged around the man's neck and yanking it with forcefully. It snapped before the boy's fangs sunk into the man. The man didn't get another chance to scream. Well, he killed that dude, I guess. Dan meninggal dianya. Raku sat cross-legged on the fallen log, his dining table dimly lit by the moon's watchful eye. Too late for you, man. You're dead now. You cannot harm his friend anymore. Nellie. That's their friend, I guess. The man's body was dropped over the log in front of him, though the word body was probably too charitable at this point. He was little more than a pile of dismembered limbs. Raku whipped his mouth with his sleeve before using the claw attached to his arms to peel another strip of flesh from the man's bones. It was a simple task that they just did. Lady softened his meal so much that it was as easy to eat oatmeal with. He dropped the meat into his pocket. The taste was revolting. While the meat had the addictive sweetness that Carter flesh had, it also had an undercurrents of chemical bitterness and cathy sourness. The man's addiction had permeated his entire body until his essence was nothing but tobacco and alcohol. He drank every day until the alcohol sank inside his body. Raku family members would have abandoned the chore of consuming this root corpse. But Raku closed his eyes and helped him breathe. He ate, man. And the masticated. Crawled down his throat. Images danced under Raku. The girl would wake up 5 minutes before her alarm, as she always did. Sunlight dosing her face in the yellow halo. She would sneak quietly into the living room, afraid to wake the man with the hair. When she didn't see him, she would probably look around confused. She would check the other rooms, and then she couldn't find him. Her face would brighten. No matter how hard he tried, he couldn't imagine this part. What would her smile look like? How lovely and radiant would it be after all her demon was gone? Okay, you guys can pause the video if you want to read Raku grain terms of half drunk from illness and alcohol in his meal. He picked up the half cotton leg and chomped into it, delicious, savoring every fuel bite. He was a bad person, a monster. That was Even though he had succumbed the weakness of his heritage and his biology, he had also done.
I'm a monster,
Okay.
but I can be a monster that does good things. A demon that kills demons.
Yeah, that was enough. Even though it was past midnight, the Commodore household was bustling with activity. The 7 rushed to the entrance courtyard, jostling each other. Get better view. The young master was standing at the gates. His kimono was filthy. It was tattered and covered in a myriad of blood stain, all and fresh. He had lost his leg, his gaiter somewhere, his feet tracking bloody footprints. Moments after his arrival, the doors to the main house burst open.
Where have you been? You...
However, before she could continue, Rako throws his closed fist in front of his mother's face. Slowly, he unfolds his fingers as if he was unwrapping a gift. There you go, mother. An eyeball set in the palm of his hand. The yellowed white of the eye was laced with the red blood vessel, framing the detailed pupil. The bloody remnant of the optic nerve trailed down his waist, his wrist swaying. It was splendid trophy, a fresh eyeball from a human corpse, unmistakable proof that
My Raku.
the omen eyes were brighter than Raku had ever seen. Her voice was sweeter than he had ever heard. She swept her son into her arms, squeezing him tightly, stroking his hair and his cheek like a precious doll.
I was so worried, but somehow you exceeded my expectations. Such a splendid hunter already. I taught you so well.
She left his chin and kissed his cheek. He flinched. Her lips were cold against his skin, with none of her mother's warmth. Raku's fist squeezed tight around the eyeball, squishing it until the end oozed through his finger like cold jam. The Commodore Matrice was normally fragile as ice. She treated her son with a strict professionalism that one would expect from an employer. She only expressed affection like this on rare occasion, a reward for pleasing her. I don't think you're gonna get what you're gonna get. Raku warmed out of his overgrab, evading his mother's artificial attachment. He opened his hand. The remnant of the eye rolled onto the stone underfoot.
I'm going to my room.
Of course. You must be exhausted. I'll prepare a bath.
Her kindly sweet voice faded into nothingness as Raku ran into the house. He sprinted down the hallway, refusing to pause for a breath until he reached the room. He reached into his closet and pulled out the heavy covering of a tomb that was folded neatly inside. He dragged to the corner of his room and smoothed himself in it, curling up on the floor like a giant pillow. Put you back. Okay. Raku pressed his cheek against the original tutoring, blinking back tears. He held his right palm against the corner of his shirt, trying to raise. He would leave this house. Someday he would be free to years later, Taikon University. Oh, okay, you grew up to be handsome. Raku yawned, not bothering to cover his mouth. Last night ride had been particularly difficult. A few of their guide members had cancer, so they were forced to party up with some randoms. The new addition were complete novice who didn't know the mechanic in the cell house in the slightest. He grew up to be a handsome man. After one of the random aggroed the boss and whipped almost the entire ride, Raku ended up swallowing the final quarter of the boss' health. As the only damage dealer, it had been Joe Conscience. Okay, he looked at the book in his hand. The spider and other stories. He wanted to hurry up and check this thing out, that he could go back in stars. The line wasn't that long. He was number 4. But for some reason the person at the front was taking an abnormally long time. He had been chatting with the librarian over 15 minutes. Raku groaned. Maybe he should go home and come back later. His eyes caught on a backpack of the girl standing in front of him. A keychain swung from the hand. Small eye and blue pixel art. Spaceship.
Space blasters.
Space blaster. He didn't need to say anything, but the words felt odd. He could stop them. The girl turned around. Raku froze. She looked around in confusion before twisting her head to look at her back. Her face
That's
relaxed.
right. I'm surprised you recognized it. Not many people know space blasters.
It's Nelly. She laughed and brushed a piece of springy look on her out.
It's a bit old, but that game was my entire childhood.
Rebel looked up at Raku eyeball. Okay, quizzically.
Is something wrong? Is there something on my face?
She smiled. Anyone could tell that it was timid smile, a mask for her nervousness in dealing with a stranger, but Raku didn't notice. Instead, that smile struck him back like a beam of sunlight, clearing away all the other thoughts in his brain until the only thing that he could see was the girl's face. Her smile was bright. It was brighter and more lovely and more radiant than he could have ever imagined. She looked like the sun. He was glad there was no bruises, no dark circle under her eyes, no forward bruise. She seemed happy, so much happier than she had been when he had seen her last. A strange feeling sprouted in his chest, a strange, almost hopeful feeling. He swallowed before opening his mouth.
What's your name?
Thank you. Okay, I guess thank you guys for watching. And please, I know I just fast forward by reading the stuff also. So basically, if you wanna see what the conversation is about, just pause it. And yeah, continue reading, because this game is not about. I thought like we had like choices so we can adjust how the outcome is, but unfortunately it's all about reading. Maybe there's gonna be another season, because they just met now after like 10 years. After 10 years they met now, and probably it will be a spicy season. Thank you guys for watching. See ya. Bye bye.